Welcome to another podcast of Agent versus Lender. And today we have Aundrea DeMille from 360 Tour Designs. And we're going to talk about photography. We're going to talk about videos and drone videos and how to make your photography better. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do this.
All right, awesome. So, Aundrea, I want to, first of all, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, I know it takes a little bit of time. And before the podcast, we were talking a little bit about an abundance mentality, and I didn't have to explain to her at all what that meant. So we appreciate her to take the time and share tips and tricks and to help us all get a little bit better at our craft.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So why don't you just introduce yourself real quick and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So my name is Aundrea, and I've been in Utah about 3 years now. I'm a Southern peach, raised in Georgia, Army brat, now married to an Army guy. Really what brought us to Utah was just a fresh start. My husband had been laid off for the second time in a year, and we were pregnant with our fourth kid at the time, and we just decided to drive across the country and start over. And in the midst of starting over, we were looking into businesses. We were actually very close to finding a Little Caesars buying into the franchise when we found 360 Tour Designs. So at the time, 360 was just a brand. So we kind of bought in as contractors. And my husband actually found it, and he was like, "Hey, you're a photographer. Why don't you do this with me?" And I was elated, like, oh my gosh, yeah, we can totally start this. Like, we have so many kids at home. We have 5 boys, and no, we don't want a girl. And yes, we are done. But we were pregnant at the time. And so it was like little overhead. And I'd been doing photos for quite a while. It'd been a couple years. I was a professional blogger, and I'd done campaigns for Walmart, Target, Goldfish, Mrs. Meyer's campaigns. So I was an influencer at the time with my professional photography, and I'd taken professional photography classes. And so I'd done more product and people. But I figured, hey, I could learn to do real estate, but, I had been taking pictures for years. So we bought into the brand, and they trained us on how to specifically do them for real estate. And so we are a nationwide company. Since then, we have turned into an official franchise. I actually helped co-write the operations manual for that, and I'm the corporate coach for all incoming 360 owners. So if you guys know someone across the country who wants to open their own photography, come holler at me. But yeah, so that's really how we got started into it. And I would love to share kind of what it takes to get amazing real estate photography photos, whether it's for listings, for rental properties, vacation. As cliche as it is, a picture really is worth 1,000 words. And so you need beautiful photos if you're going to be in the real estate industry, no matter what that looks like.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I've been in this business for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've seen some really good pictures, and I've seen some really awful pictures. And it doesn't. Sometimes I'm really shocked at people that have these $1 million+ listings,
Right.
and they're still taking them with older cell phones.
Yeah.
Because cell phones actually can take some fairly decent pictures, but I'm sure it's still not the same quality
Right.
as a digital camera, as what you take. So with that introduction, why don't just jump right in? I think you were going to tell us a little bit maybe about the process let's start with pictures.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely jump in pictures. And I agree with you that these days cell phones do take a lot better photos. But you still can't quite get the angles that you want with a cell phone. And the worst is when you see a realtor either standing in the bathroom, you can see them in the bathroom mirror, or on a sunny day outside, and you can literally see their shadow like in the grass with them holding up the phone.
I have seen those just recently. I've seen some of those. Yeah.
So while cell phones are beautiful at taking pictures, the newer ones, you still don't want to see yourself in the photo. Not really. You want to bring more value to your client. And
Right.
so that first interaction.
And you know what? That doesn't matter whether it's $1 million listing
Right.
or whether it's a
100,000.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really want to bring, in my opinion, realtors, lenders, it's all about giving that best experience to your clients that you can possibly give them, right? Giving more in value than you take in payment. And that goes to, hey, I'm going to bring in professional photographers for you, despite what the price point is, right?
It's a huge marketing point.
Absolutely.
When people ask you, what sets you apart? Why should I list with you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge selling point because not everybody will do it. Not
Absolutely.
everybody will spend that money, especially in a market today where listings don't seem to stay on
they don't.
very long.
Yeah.
So I know that's kind of a down, it's kind of a bummer because
Right.
they're going to come see the house.
Right.
And maybe we can talk about that here.
I would
in just
love
a
to
minute.
talk about that. Yeah, let's
Okay.
circle back to that because I have a
Okay.
few thoughts on that as well.
Okay.
But basically, so one of the things that I wanted to share with y'all is when you first want to take beautiful photos for a listing, Airbnb, rental whatever it is, you want a nice HDR camera. You want a nice camera that can do bracketing. If you're unfamiliar with those photography terms, what we mean is you want to be able to set the camera so that it can take a minimum of 3, I highly recommend 5 different exposures of the one angle. That's really what's going to give you the HDR, which is a high dynamic range of photo. Not all cameras can do that. So you might have, $1,000 digital camera. But if it doesn't have the capability to bracket, you're losing out on some of that beautiful quality.
So when you say it'll take 3 to 5, are you talking? You can set it, and it'll take 5 pictures like right away, like
Absolutely.
or it takes it. Yeah. Okay. Is that what you're talking about?
So that's what I'm talking about. So what the once you have your camera, you're gonna want to put it on a tripod. Please don't ever shoot free-handed. You're gonna want to put it on a tripod
Right.
simply because when it's taking those pictures and it goes, and sometimes those exposures are like, depending on how much light is in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're holding it, you can't help but move even a little, and that's going to bring a little bit of out of focus to at least one of those 5 pictures.
And I've seen that so many times. It's just like, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're right. See, I'm not a photographer, so I don't think about those things. It's just like when you take that picture, it's called aperture.
Yes.
So your aperture is going to stay open a little longer because there's
Right.
not as much light.
Right.
And man, I don't know about you, but there's no way I'm holding that camera
Right.
that still. And so
Yeah.
you get that little bit of a fuzz. So I've seen those. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so you definitely want to shoot it on a tripod. You want to set your ISO, your in search of light, at 100. And once it's on the tripod, and you can set it to 5 brackets, so it's going to take 5 pictures of one angle and with the ISO set at 100, and that's where the aperture comes in, where with it being less light, that aperture is going to stay open a lot longer. The shutter is going to take a lot longer to close. And then if there's a lot of light, obviously it'll close quickly. It'll go right. And so step 1, get a really good camera that can bracket. Step 2, make sure your ISO is set at 100 for at least 5 images. And step 3 for sure is going to be please put that baby on a tripod, and get a leveler. Because that's also, don't try to eyeball it. I know if you've been doing it for forever, get a little bubble leveler that slides right on top. Make sure it's nice and level, because the worst also is like if your picture's sharp and it's slightly off, a little to the left or a little to the right. And it's going to save you time on the back end with editing if it gets it straight right out of camera, right?
Right,
So, yeah, so you want to do that.
And I've seen those pictures too, where they're tilted and you're going, well, is the house crooked? Is
Right.
it?
Yeah. Just slightly off a little. So that's step 1 to really taking awesome pictures in terms of creating that HDR effect. And this is one mistake that I think a lot of people make, especially our cell phone holding groupies, is they kind of stand in the doorway and just shoot the room. But the best way to make a room look large and to see most of the room is by standing in the corner. So if you stand in the corner and you angle it corner to corner instead of just standing in the doorway, it's really going to make the room look bigger, and you can get everything from literally the ceiling, the floor, and everything in between. So that's a good tip.
And I'm assuming that that's just because of the angles.
Yeah.
It's the angles. You have
That's
you
exactly
have angles
what it
instead
is.
of straight walls.
Yeah, you want an angle so you can see the room instead of the walls. Because even when it comes to portraits, whatever's closest to the camera will show up biggest. You're going to notice this now next time you take a selfie.
I will.
Right? The person holding the phone, their head always looks twice as large as everybody else. Or if your hand is up, if your hand is closest to the picture, it's going to look massive in comparison to the rest of everybody else. So notice family photos, and the person whose hand is flat will look giant. It'll look just as big as their head compared to someone who's like, you can see their fingers, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean with angling. So you want to get in the right angle so we can see the room, and the couch per se doesn't look huge, or the island doesn't look huge, but you can actually see the whole kitchen or the whole living room. It's just, and moving angle to angles. Another tip is when you're in the room, you want to open all the blinds, all the curtains, and turn on every light in the house. The more light, the better, but then it also brings about this beautiful contrast and gives it a really good dynamic look. There's nothing more beautiful than looking at that master bedroom with both lamps on the side of the bed shining light up and down. It just brings about, the magic is always in the details, right? So it's just those small things of like turning on all the lights. Is the lamp going to make a big difference in terms of lighting in the room? No, but it's going to make the photo look amazing.
Yeah, and that's where having years of experience comes in. It's just like you would notice stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I have a friend that does body work on cars, and like I'm going, man, this car is cool, and he goes, no, you see this, you see this, you see this. I go, yeah, no, who's going to notice that?
Right.
It's the body man, you know.
Right.
And so the photographers but even people, the normal people will notice a good photograph.
Absolutely.
And compare it and go, why is this photograph so much nicer than this one? And they may not be able to pinpoint it. You can.
Right.
But most of us probably won't be able, but we will know that this photo looks better than this one.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. It's all in the details. And those people who notice that, guess what? They're going to choose to see that house with that beautiful picture over the house with the crummy picture first. And it's the difference between getting an offer in a little faster. And even in a market like today in Utah, it's a difference in driving the price up. You know, so yeah, we know homes are flying off the market right now. There's a lack of inventory, but guess what? If you have 20 people putting bids on one house with beautiful pictures versus 10 putting offers in on another house with not so up to par photos, you're more likely to drive that price up and get into an even better bidding war, which again makes the agent look like a rock star to their client, right?
right.
You might be able to get an extra $5,000 or $10,000 out of that listing just because of great photos.
Which just answered the question that I was going to ask you. We were going to circle
I know,
about
and I
around to.
accidentally got there too soon. My
No,
apologies.
no, that's awesome. So yeah, so my question was pictures in today's market,
Yeah.
where they're just flying off the shelf so quickly. Is it
Right.
really worth it? You just answered that question.
Absolutely,
and
it's worth
so
it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And again, you know, realtors, lenders, myself, we all work off of referrals, right? It's all
Sure.
about relationships and giving that experience. Well, if an agent has a client who, you know, we send my team, and I have a team of photographers that go in and take these pictures. Then they'll upload them at night. And then I have a team of editors who make them look beautiful, and they'll deliver them back to us in the morning so we can guarantee that next day turnaround. And then my admins will get them out to our realtors. But if we bring it back to that first step, the photographer is like the first big interaction with the seller in terms of the transaction. So when my photographers go in and make the client feel at ease. Oh, you did a great job decorating the house. Great job cleaning. Don't worry, we're going to make it look beautiful, you know. And the pictures come back quickly. The agent gets it listed quickly. Right away, the seller is having a fantastic experience. Professionals showed up. Look at how quickly the pictures got back. Oh my gosh, they look amazing. If you just take a listing and take your pictures and list it, you're missing out on that experience that you're giving to your sellers. And you may be losing referrals, because when you have this great experience, they're going to want to tell their friends, right? They're going to say, oh my gosh, you have to list with my agent. They brought professional photographers in. They made my house look better. Like, it looks so good, I didn't even want to move. you know, and then it got into a bidding war. You know, oh, we
That
get
is
that.
so true.
We get that, you know. Then we got into a bidding war, and my house sold for $10,000 over asking when the neighbors only sold for $3,000 over asking. Right? Like all of that goes to the experience and referrals, and you know, only 36% of realtors use professional photos, but 118% of home buyers say the reason they saw a home is because of the pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so profound. I hadn't even thought about. I hadn't thought about this because I'll be honest with you. When we started this, my question really was, are pictures worth it today?
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about the reasons why they are worth it.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond, well, my house is going to sell anyway.
Right.
Because it will. It will
Right.
sell anyway.
It will.
But it goes far beyond that. So the experience that you're providing your listings, your sellers, and I hadn't thought about going and looking at a house from a buyer's perspective.
Right.
You're right though. Because if I saw all things being equal, and I
Right.
see this one has professional photographers, because you guys make these houses look amazing.
Yeah.
And I will go see the one that has the pictures first. And
Right.
so you may not even get
You
to
might
the
not even
one.
get to the other one, right?
Might not even get to it because you get to this one, you go, that's the house
That's
I want.
it. Mm-hmm.
So you might not even get to that one. So,
Yeah.
you know, that is such a great tip for all of us, because
Yeah.
it's not something that I would have thought of.
Right, right. Yeah, it's super fun, and I love when my clients come back and say, wow, thank you so much. My sellers had the best experience. Oh, you put their feelings at ease, you know. Oh my gosh, we were able to get more than we were anticipating, you know. And you do get the feedback from the buyers of, oh my gosh, the pictures were great. That's why we came. Okay, quick story. We had a new neighbor that moved in to our neighborhood 2 years ago. And she and I were nursing our babies together at the time and just kind of chit-chatting of, you know, where'd you come from, blah, 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 you know. And she said, yeah, we just moved, you know, we bought this house. And I said, oh, yeah, cool. I said, you know, what's funny is we actually took the pictures for that house. She's like, you did? I'm like, yeah, my company did. I own the company that did that listing. And she goes, oh my gosh, that is the only reason why I bought that house. No, really.
Wow.
She said, we were under, true story. She says, we were under contract for a house in Morgan. And someone sent us this listing. And I looked at the pictures and I was like, I know we're under contract, but I have to go see this house. And they went and looked at it, fell in love, pulled their other offer from the house in Morgan and bought this one, all because of photos.
Yeah, no, and if you have cell phone pictures on there where you move just a little bit,
Yeah.
it's a little bit, that would have never happened.
Never
Never
No.
happened.
She would have been like, the house is, nah, I'm fine. We're just going to stay
Yeah.
where we are under contract, right?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. Which I'm sure wasn't fun for the people who wrote it.
Sure, yeah, sure. You know, that really stinks for the house in Morgan.
Right.
But, you know, yeah.
But yeah, so another tip that I would love to give people is when it comes to the editing, right? So once you have the angle down, once you've taken your bracketed photos and you're ready to edit, making HDR photos, high dynamic range photos, takes hours and hours and hours. The first thing you do is upload all those photos, which sometimes can take 90 minutes.
And so
Just to upload.
And I am assuming it's just like most, and why you take 5 pictures of each angle is you're not gonna use all of these. So you take.
Oh no, but we do.
You don't use all of the photos.
We do.
Seriously?
Yeah. So let me tell you. So when we take so let's say we are photographing this room, right? I'm taking 5 pictures of one angle. Once they're all uploaded, then we do this software where we merge all 5 together, which goes back to create the one picture.
Seriously?
Yeah, so that's why it's so important to use that tripod and not shake, right? Because when I'm merging them all together, they have to be very precise so that they all layer on top of one another and become one picture.
I had no idea.
Yeah, this is how we create that effect where you can see out the window, right? You can The ceiling is white, the walls might be beige, the floor might be brown. This is how we get all the colors and all the layers to make HDR by merging all 5 of those together. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, well, that, now you're actually convincing me. It's just like, it's even more important to use somebody that knows how to do this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So I had no idea, because I always thought that, you take the best one and you throw out all the rest of them.
Out.
I had no idea that you actually use them.
Yeah, we actually merge all of them together. So that merging process also takes a few hours to merge them together. Now, once they've all been merged, we probably would take 100 pictures that would come out to 20 images, right? If they're all 5 stops apiece. Then we hand edit each one of those 20 pictures. So that's when we go in and brighten the ceilings, brighten the walls, highlight the lights a little bit more. And for the exteriors, one of the things that sets my company apart from our competitors is we will go and Photoshop in blue skies. So all of the exteriors have guaranteed blue skies. We don't like to Photoshop the house, we don't mess with the integrity of the home, right?
Right.
But the sky, oh my word, makes the biggest difference night and day, and especially in a place like Utah where there's inversion in the summer, smoky fires getting blown in from east or west or whichever direction happens to be blowing that day. And even in the winter when it's snowing, right? And we have that, it's always kind of gray, overcasty in the winter here because it's a lot of snow showers on and off. So that really makes the difference. And that first picture of the home, that's it, right? You want it to look amazing. Just by Photoshopping in a sky, literally brightens the day.
Totally.
So we'll guarantee those blue skies on all of the exteriors, including our drone photos. So once all that's done, then the pictures are ready to be delivered to our agents and go on the MLS.
So it's not like you're going in and you're taking some pictures and 30 minutes later, you're uploading them to your MLS listing.
Exactly. No.
You have to plan this in advance.
You do. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because as much as I love my Realtor clients, they like it yesterday.
Yeah. We all do. Be honest, we all want it yesterday.
Everybody wants it yesterday. Yeah. And it's always, in fact, a side note, I've had to tell myself, Aundrea, there's no such thing as a real estate photography emergency, right? That doesn't exist. Yeah. It will be fine. It will be fine. And so, that's why we do guarantee the next day turnaround, because it takes hours. So we have a team that are editing at night to make sure that we have them back the next day, and then we'll do a quality control look over them before we upload them. But that's for my company, and because we like to give the best product possible at 360 Tour Designs, unfortunately I can't guarantee same day delivery. We just can't. My team is photographing all day. We'll start at 9 and they'll shoot these days till 4 because it's dark at 5. But in the summer, we're shooting till 9. Right? Until the sun goes down, 8:30, and 9 o'clock if we're doing twilight pictures, that beautiful sunset pictures.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so they're shooting all day. And then once they get home, then they have the ability to upload all the pictures, and then we send them off to our editing team. So because of that, it does make it more difficult. We can't really do same day, but I will guarantee you the next day, and I will guarantee you they're going to be beautiful.
Just sitting here talking to you, it's just like, wait the day.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, wait a day to get these pictures.
Yeah.
It can make all the difference. Maybe not in selling the house, because in today's market, likely it's going to sell.
Right.
But just like you said, this could make a difference in a price increase.
Absolutely.
It can make it, but for sure, it's going to make a difference in the experience of the buyer and the seller.
Absolutely.
Both.
Yeah. Which is going to lead to more referrals, right?
Yes, right.
So do you want to invest $100 to get another 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000? Why not?
That's a no-brainer.
Right?
It's like a total no-brainer. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So let's talk about, you mentioned you also do some videos. So let's
Yes.
talk about videos.
Yeah, so we do drone videos. All of our pilots are FAA certified. So what that means is they study and they take a test to pass and get their licenses to fly their drones legally. We will not put a pilot in the field who does not have their FAA license. And one of the things that's great for us is we here in Ogden, and we do cover, I own Salt Lake County, Davis and Weber County, but my photographers will cover from Logan down to Provo and over into Park City. But especially here in Ogden, we have two airports, right? We have the Ogden Airport.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We have
Yeah.
a Hill Air Force Base. And so there's this 5-mile restricted airspace that we have a waiver for. So
You got a waiver?
we have a waiver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we can fly. We do have to call the air traffic controllers and say, hey, we are within our 5 miles. We're going to get ready to take off. Is that okay? And they'll tell us yes or no or wait or, okay, don't exceed this feet or,
Sure.
So
yeah.
we'll call and radio in. We can get the pictures done. So we can get drone pictures done and drone videos done within that 5-mile radius. Now, there is a small space that is for sure restricted that we cannot fly. There are no fly zones that we do not fly in. And that is just worth the integrity for us. We're not going to fly in a no-fly zone.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and it's out of safety. People who do that let me get off my soapbox in a minute, but it's just irresponsible. It's just irresponsible and selfish. It's not worth a sell to fly in a no-fly zone. That's just dangerous.
Well, it's not only dangerous, but it's illegal. And
Right.
you don't want somebody knocking on your door.
Right.
Because uniformed people knocking on your door doesn't usually.
And well.
Yeah, it doesn't usually end well at all. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, so we'll do drone pictures. And again, just like we guarantee the blue skies on the exteriors, we guarantee blue skies on the drone pictures. We're not Paramount or MGM, so I can't guarantee blue skies on the drone videos.
Sure, yeah.
But we will on the drone photos. So yeah, we'll do 360 videos with the drone and flying over horse properties. Really, I encourage our clients that even if it's on a cul-de-sac, get a few drone pictures. You can do drone photos and normal photos for about $130 to $150. And it really gives a different perspective where the potential buyer can see, oh, it's on a cul-de-sac. Oh, look at the yard. Oh, we can put a playground here. We can put a pool there. Oh, it backs up into a field or golf course or, So I don't feel like drones should be reserved just for $1 million properties. But adding that value, that better experience to get more buyers in there. And then we'll also do sneak peek videos. So we have a baby drone, a little Spark that we'll use on the inside of the home where we can fly through the home. And
Seriously?
yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like maybe 6 inches. So we'll kind of fly it, especially if it's a big open space on some of your more open floor plans, we can fly just over like the living room to the kitchen, and then we'll take our cameras and pan left to right here and there and piece it all together for a good 90 or 30, not 90, but like 60-second video. It's a sneak peek, literally. The goal is just to show a little bit of the living room, kitchen, dining, master, exterior to get people in. And this is a great way for agents to brand themselves as well, because we'll put their photos with their brokerage information and their phone number, everything at the end. They can put them on their own YouTube. They can use them for marketing when they go on listing appointments. So we give them everything. You'll get the embed codes, the links. But yeah, those are some of the other services that we offer.
Yeah, drone videos are really amazing. I know. I personally know a good friend of mine, a realtor, that also does drone videos.
Yeah.
And it's like night and day difference in the listings. So the drone videos just make a huge difference in the overall experience
Absolutely.
of both the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
And
cool.
they're really cool. And if you want to get that perfect pan in the video, that 360 pan, just set a point of interest on your drone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than trying to freehand and fly in a circle around the house.
Okay, so say that again. What do you do?
Yeah, so set the point of interest on the drone and just let it do an orbit, and it'll automatically do a perfect circle around the property and come back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's much better than trying to fly it by hand in a perfect circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great
There you
tip.
go.
Yeah, that is a great tip. So, okay, so we talked a little bit about, you talked a little bit about editing. So, okay, so we talked about merging these pictures together. Is there something that maybe, I'm going to go back to the editing for
Sure,
just a second.
sure.
Is there something that maybe those of us that don't have that ability to merge that? Obviously, that's the best way to do that.
Yeah.
But so is there just some things that maybe somebody can do that if they just have some software that maybe can make that picture look a little bit better?
So if you don't have the ability to do bracketing and merge photos together, then you really want to make sure that your ISO, your in search of light, is set at 100 and use a tripod. So then the photo is perfectly exposed. Even if it takes a whole minute to take that photo, it's going to be worth it in the end.
Which is where a tripod becomes really important.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're going to use your cell phone, put it on a tripod. They make tripod cell phone holders.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
If you buy a tripod today, almost all of them come with a little cell phone holder now.
They do, yeah. And so for sure the tip is putting it on a tripod, but in terms of editing, you can download, I'm not sure if you have to buy Lightroom or at least start with a free trial. So Lightroom is a very user-friendly editing software. It's kind of like a baby step into Photoshop. So
Okay.
they're all owned by Adobe. But if you go into Lightroom, I'm trying to think. You should be able to do this on your basic software that comes on your computer as well, but Lightroom would be better. If you're not going to spend $100 for pictures, then buy the software for $30.
Okay.
But if you put it in Lightroom and then just adjust, so just a tad bit of saturation, you want to increase the brightness just a little, increasing, obviously crop it and straighten it out, make sure it's nice and straightened,
Sure,
right? Yeah. So those are some of the small tips that you can do without really going in and editing. That really makes it really pretty. So put it on a tripod, set the ISO for 100 to get it perfectly exposed as possible, upload it into Lightroom and just brighten it just a little, add a little bit of saturation, crop it, and it should be a decent picture.
Awesome. My gosh. I don't even know where to go from here. Well, I don't because I'm not a photographer.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, I can probably talk a little bit about this, but I'm realizing how much I don't really know.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask you: is there anything else that we talked a little bit about staging, but I'm going to have you back.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned somebody that that does some of that. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to have you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you back, and we're going to continue this conversation on staging and some more on pictures and videos and how staging can really make a difference for you too.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'd love to come back. I think it's going to be super fun. This is fun. It's informative. People need to know, hey, nothing against our DIYers. My dad, my husband, total DIY guys.
Yeah.
I'd love to do everything from scratch. I can go bake bread or make bread at home, and sometimes I buy the loaf, but sometimes it's nice to do it yourself. So all the power to you. Hopefully these tips will help them. But yeah, if you choose to create a better experience, 360 Tour Designs is here to help. We would love to come in. You can schedule with us on 360tourdesigns.com and just click schedule with us. There's a big green button in the top right hand of the browser. But I would love to come back with my staging company and partner. They
Yes.
also service here in Utah, same area from about Logan down to Provo. They do a lot of work in Salt Lake.
Awesome.
And I think we can give a lot of tips for some of the small, like again, $200,000 homes, staging tips, up to your $1 million properties when we bring in everything. And it's,
So they can get hold of you on 360tour.com.
360 Tour Designs with an S.
Oh, sorry. 360 Tour Designs
With an S, yeah, .com.
.com.
Yes.
Is there a phone number?
Yeah, so you can call our scheduler, 385-288-0881, and my team will help you get scheduled. You can also send us an email at slcadmin@360tourdesigns.com as well.
So this has been really informative, and it's helped me, and I'm sure it's going to be helping people, some realtors that are wanting to do some photos. But for sure, give Aundrea a call and set up a time to at least talk to her.
Yeah. We're here to help.
Yeah, because I think it just makes a big difference. And having referrals, that's just like, so last week we had a guy on here that named Richard, and his business is 100% referral. Yeah. And that's what we all strive for.
Absolutely.
You know, and he's attained it. And this is just one of those steps to attain a referral-based business.
Yeah.
So anyway, give Aundrea a call, and again, if you want to, just as always, if you want to get hold of me or my team, you can call us or text us at 801-628-7667. You can get hold of me at ron@thepippinteam.com, and we're going to have you guys back.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, and we'll talk to you again on Agent versus Lender.